In this video, let's learn how to paint the Slanesh leader from Direchasm.
That the entirety of the cosmos is accessible through each and every individual's mind, connecting to the great mind, the great spirit.
Welcome back to the channel, collectors. So as you guys have seen this picture, it's been posted up since the start of the year, and I'd like to share with you guys some tips and tricks of how I painted this chaotic looking miniature. It was the start of the year and I was thinking, how can I portray 2020 as a miniature? And I thought about how chaotic 2020 was, and I really wanted to portray some of the styles over. So I took some inspiration from Kolectiv Studios and I mixed in a little bit of knowledge on my own. So as you guys can see, this is the result. There are a lot of chaotic elements in this, and I would like to show you guys how I achieved this effect. So if you're ready to paint some chaotic miniatures, let us begin.
Alright, so these are the colors that you need to paint Vasillac. Yeah, there are a lot of colors, so get them ready and let's get started. So I'm trying this new painting philosophy where I go with more random colors and ambient colors so that I can create some kind of underpainting. Prior to this video, I didn't know that Kolectiv is doing something similar to this, but I see how the effects are very similar and I really like the effect. What I'm doing right here is I'm just mixing some Vallejo model color dark grey with fluorescent green from scale 75. And with the same value, I'm going to be mixing in some fluorescent pink and fluorescent blue. So this will be creating the random underpainting. So what I'm doing is I create the random underpainting and eventually I fix the values and you will see the results shortly. How this works is, what I'm doing is that I'm creating the entire image with the same value with random colors first, and then subsequently I'll build on the midtones and I'll paint in the part separation accordingly, and that's what creates the really interesting underpainting, because the underpainting has very random colors underneath. However, the individual colors will be built on with their respective colors, such as the silver, the gold, and stuff like that. Okay, just to throw in a little bit more randomness, throwing in some pure fluorescent colors to just increase the saturation so that the underpainting is a lot more complex. Alright, so it looks like I'm about done with the underpainting here. So this is the underpainting step finished, and we'll be proceeding on to painting the individual components so that we can really create some part separation. So essentially what I've done here is I've just created just a random swatch of colors on the surface to show that chaotic nature on this miniature that I'm trying to portray. You can always add more randomness if you want to. However, I think I should stop soon. Okay, so this is the final result for the underpainting. So moving on, we're going to start building the greys on the shield, which is probably going to be silver. So what I'm using is fluorescent yellow bone grey and Vallejo model color pale grey blue, mixed in with a little bit of Vallejo model color dark grey. Right here, I'm creating the initial layer of highlights. So this initial layer that I'm doing is gonna be based according to the value sketch which I've done. So if you want to look at the black and white value sketch and the shapes that I'm going to be talking about subsequently, do head on to the Patreon, and at the $2 range you will be able to get access to the black and white images. So these black and white images are really useful because it tells you exactly how to lay the highlights on. I've done the black and white images based on having a fixed light, and so you can see how light reacts to this model at multiple angles. Alright, so right here I'm gradually adding in a little bit of Vallejo model color, ivory, to create the warmer highlights. So what you can see right here is that while the underpainting is very complex, I've done the painting as per normal, but you can see because of the nature of acrylic paints, they tend to be translucent when dried. You can see a little bit of the underpainting showing from beneath, and this is what creates that complexity. So in this miniature, what I was trying to create is I'm trying to create the effect that there are random lights and random stuff floating around this miniature, and hence the chaotic nature of it is. Okay, so moving on, this is orange brown mixed in with a little bit of fluorescent green, mixed in with a bit of dark grey. I believe right here I'm trying to create the initial layers for the gold on this miniature. So Vasillac has pretty basic colors, silver, golds, a bit of flash, a bit of blues, that's about it. So mixing in a little bit of Vallejo model color, green brown, and a little bit of stone grey, a bit of white or ivory, I'm going to be creating some highlights for this miniature. Okay, so all the shapes, and following the size and shapes very closely. So I've mentioned before why I really find values very important, because values are fundamentally things that you will use to justify and for the viewer to be able to identify different materials, different forms, and stuff like that. You will not be able to tell the forms clearly if they were all the same value, even if you had 1,000 colors around. Okay, so this is Vallejo model color red, black red, plus a little bit of scale 75 basic flash, and we're just creating the initial layers for the flash areas. Alright, so moving on, adding in a little bit of sky blue from Vallejo model color, adding in a little bit of dark grey. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be placing the blue grey mid-tones for the fur texture on his chest, or shoulders rather. So at this point of time, I'm paying particular attention to which surfaces have been highlighted in the reference photo, hence creating this effect. So here's a little preview of our prototype overbrush. I'm going to be overbrushing right here. So this brush was built from the ground up. Yeah, it's not some basic OEM colors that I've used or some OEM brush that I've used. Basically, I worked with a brush manufacturer and I'm creating something, and you guys should look out for that. So that's Vallejo model color English uniform mixed in with a little bit of fluorescent pink and pale blue grey. So I'm trying to create this desert effect right here. Just gradually adding in more pale blue grey into the mix to create subsequent highlights and adding some random colors accordingly. Adding some pinks, possibly adding some greens or fluorescent colors. Trying to keep the base simple yet chaotic. Okay, so now I'm reinforcing some of the shadows. This is made using dark grey with a little bit of fluorescent pink from scale 75. And very shortly you will be able to see the final results. So mixing in some basic flesh and some ivory, creating highest highlights for the base right here. So now just using black with fluorescent green. What we're going to do is we're going to re-emphasize some of the shadows. And this is going to be the cast shadow on the miniature. Remember, all these can be found on the Patreon. So just sign up for the $2 tier and you will be able to get black and white images. I find that painting in the cast shadows really make this look so much more dynamic and makes this miniature look so much more finished. So just doing some final edge highlights on the base, and I'll catch you in just a little bit when the finished model is shown. Alright, so I hope you found this video useful. If you have, which obviously you have because you watched till now, do give me a like and subscribe if you think I deserve it, and I'll catch you in just a little bit. So this is the finished version of Vasillac the Gifted. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want to see me paint any more Direchasm videos, just drop me a comment.
So we have finished the leader from the Dread pageant, and there are many more miniatures in the Dread pageant to go. Which other miniature you'd like to see me paint? Do let me know in the comments below, and your miniature might be the next one too. At this point in time, I'd like to take the time to thank my patrons for allowing me to do this. Because of the generous donations of my patron, I'm able to spend the time to paint and record these videos so that we all get to become better miniature painters together. Alright, so why don't you head on to Patreon, and the exclusive video for this time round will be the uncut version of the Dread pageant. You don't want to miss that because I'm going really in depth to talk about my thoughts and inspiration and how you can achieve this effect for your own too. However, for whatever reason, if you become a patron, that's okay too. I'd like to thank you for watching all the way to the end here. So if you can, you must have enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you think I deserve one. And I hope to see you in the next video. See you.